Some of you may be bored with the repetition that is about to commence, but you will not be if, instead of saying, "Oh, I know that, I've done that," if instead you will forget your past experience with it and start as if it were entirely new, and do it faithfully. Don't do it with half a mind as if you already knew what was coming. Do it with your full attention. Because I have no way of imparting the infinite way principle to you except by this means. I'm going to ask you, please, to look down at your feet right now, very attentively, and ask yourself the question, am I down there in those feet? Do those feet constitute me, or are they mine? Now do it as slowly as I am and as attentively as I am, because otherwise you will not have the experience. Are you down there in those feet? Do you think you live there? Or are these feet yours? Yours to command, yours to order, yours to direct. And now travel up to the knees. And look at yourself from the knees down to the toenails with the same question. Are you to be found down there? Is this you, or are these yours? And now travel up to your waist. Are you there? Or is all of this yours? Can you not move it at your will? Well, we'll travel up to the neck now, but you be a little bit more thorough and examine that body between the neck and the waist, front and back, outside and inside. Look right down into the inside. And ask yourself, is this me? This is what I see in the mirror, but is this me? Or is this mine? Was not this body given to me for the many, many uses? And then from the neck right up to the topmost hair of the head, and be sure to look around inside the head and notice the brain, the ears and the throat. Look right down through the throat and see if you can find yourself, because now you've encompassed the body. Is this you? Can you find yourself anywhere at all, in all that you have examined, inside or outside? Even look behind the eyes, because sometimes we think that we are behind the eyes looking out. See if you can find yourself even there. And eventually, if you do this faithfully, you must agree, not because I say so, but because if this has been faithfully done, you have actually come to the conclusion yourself that you are not anywhere within your body. If during this experience you have not become fully convinced, if it is not absolutely clear to you that there is no place at all within your body where you are, then I hope that you will go home and do it again, and if necessary a third or fourth time, until you are no longer taking my word for it, until you yourself can bear witness to the fact that you have searched yourself thoroughly, and that you know that you are not inside of that frame. Now, you will not make spiritual progress until you have come to that realization, because until this dawns on you, you never will know who you are or what you are or where you are or why you are or how you function. Now, I'm going to ask you to take a very radical step. I would like you to step up here about 6 inches in back of yourself and about 6 inches over your head and look down at yourself. And the way you do it is you close your eyes and lift yourself up there and say, I. I. Just maneuver yourself until you are in back of yourself about 6 inches and above yourself about 6 inches, and look down through the top of your head and realize I. Of course, I am not in that body. Therefore, I must be outside of that body. And if I am outside of that body, I can localize myself. And I can be here, there, or anywhere, but I choose now to be right behind my body and above it, so that I can look down upon this body. I, in back of and above the body, looking down upon it. I, who am not in the body, have now localized myself. And as I look at this body, I will ask myself a question. How can this body function without me? How could this body take a step forward or backward? How could the arms be raised or lowered? Will this body do it of itself? Just a minute. I have just eaten a meal. Can this body of itself digest? Or am I the activity of this body the same as I would be the activity of my hands and feet, my arms and legs? Of course, you know that you are the activity of your hands and feet. You know that your hands cannot give a gift, nor can your hands accept one. It is I who accept and I who give, using my hands as an agency. Can my feet walk or my legs or my whole body? And you know you can't. You know that if you get up from this chair, it is because you whom you call I choose to get up from this chair, and my body must follow. It has no choice. It has no power even to say no. It cannot refuse. When I am ready to stand up, the body must stand up. And when I am ready to walk, the body must walk, because I was given dominion over this body. You may have a period at home and take more time than we are taking, so as to adjust yourself to this outlook. But you are looking down upon yourself, and you are witnessing the helplessness of your arms and legs, your hands and feet. Except I direct them and move them. Now, you will be interested to learn that although you call yourself I, this does not fully identify you, because you do not know the nature of the I that I am. You are consciousness and you are infinite, but you are becoming more and more aware of the infinite nature of your own being and of your dominion. The reason is that this I that you declare yourself to be is actually consciousness. And the nature of your consciousness is infinity. Someday you'll learn why. I and the Father are one. Therefore, all that God is, I am. All that the Father hath is mine. Where? Within my consciousness. And now day by day I am becoming more and more aware of that which is already within my consciousness and always was there, awaiting my recognition. The Master on the Mount of Transfiguration showed to 3 of his disciples that the ancient Hebrew prophets who had died centuries before were still alive, and they were right here where we are. Now, where are we? In my consciousness. Where are you? In my consciousness. Where am I? In your consciousness. Where do you keep the message of the infinite way? Don't tell me in books or on your bookshelf. The only place you can keep this message is in your consciousness. Now, get back up there now, 6 inches behind your body and 6 inches above your head, and look down at your body again. And realize now that you are not in this body. This body is within your consciousness, just like the Bible or the Infinite Way books are within your consciousness. So this body is within your consciousness. And try to understand why the Master could say to the crippled man, "What did hinder you? Pick up thy bed." You know, I don't know if he said bed or body. I think he more than likely said body. Pick up your body and walk, because you are not in that body, and that body isn't holding you in bondage. The body is within you, and you do not know your dominion. So now, from this point where we recognize that I am not in this body. This body was not given dominion over me. Shall I repeat that sentence? This body was not given dominion over me. I was given dominion over this body. Of course, consciousness has infinite forms and activities. And some of these I must consciously utilize. For instance, I must consciously decide to walk, or to talk, or to run, or to get up, or to sit down, or to eat, or not to eat. But there is another activity of consciousness which has been given the functions of the body, so that I do not have to say to my digestive organs, digest. I do not have to say to the eliminative organs, eliminate. I do not have to say to the heart, function. All I have to do is to know that these activities of the body are really not activities of the body, they are activities of consciousness. And then let them loose to perform their work. We have been in bondage only because we have allowed the organs and functions of the body to accept the medical belief that the organs of the body can do what they want and control us, instead of understanding that the organs and functions of the body are actually animated, motivated by consciousness. Therefore, I now restore to my consciousness, the activity of my body, of those functions of my body which are not consciously controlled. Instead of saying now, how is the heart beating? How is the digestive organs working? How is the liver moving? Now let us lift up every activity of the body, of the organs and functions of the body, into consciousness and restore the dominion to the consciousness, and then say, now consciousness function. And as often and as long as it may be necessary, as long as the body is not fully responding, repeat this. Lift up the activity of the organs and functions into the consciousness and say, now consciousness take over. It will not be long until you will discover that your body is meant to function through your consciousness. Your consciousness was given the dominion over these internal organs and functions and muscles, and we ourselves have deprived them, mostly because we thought we were in the body and had no dominion over the body. This that I am explaining about body is only used as an illustration or symbol to the greater thing. Because if you understand this much, the rest will become clear to you. Now follow me. Here I am. And I am consciousness, and consciousness is infinite. And there is an area of consciousness with dominion over every facet of my life. Therefore, there is a place in my consciousness, an activity of my consciousness, a function of my consciousness, which governs my supply. My supply is not at the mercy of man whose breath is in his nostril. God has intended me to have infinite supply, all that I need and 12 baskets full left over, but God did not make me at the mercy of anybody's whim or will or generosity or lack of it. God provided an activity of my consciousness to bring my supply to me, or to unfold as my supply. And therefore, just as there is an area of my consciousness that governs the organs and functions of my body, there is an area of my consciousness that governs my supply. Therefore, I can say, I have hidden manna. I have meat the world knows not of, because I have an activity of my consciousness that has dominion over my supply. There is an activity or function of my consciousness which is to bring to me my own. There is a hidden manna within me that goes before me and brings to me my own companionship, those of my own household, those of my spiritual household, those with whom I can commune on various levels of human and spiritual existence. My conscious oneness with God constitutes my oneness with all spiritual being and idea. And humanly, I have to do nothing about it. My consciousness is infinite. It has infinite faculties, infinite activities, infinite functions. And one of those is to draw to me those whom I can bless and who in turn can bless. If you are up there above yourself, above your body, realizing, yes, here I am. I am that I am. Now, if you're going to look at yourself in the mirror and believe that you are seeing yourself, you're going to be like the man who can't read. All you're going to be aware of is your limitations. But if you once can say the word I and get up there outside of yourself and look down and say, why, hands, you can't move if I don't move you. Feet, you can't move if I don't move you. You can't eat. The teeth can't chew if I don't chew with them. You have to get up there. You have to become aware of the I. Raise the I of your own being. I, if I be lifted up. Lift up that I in you. You've had the benefit of 2 years of classes on the subject of lifting up the Son of God in you. Now lift it up with the word I. Get up there and let your shoulders go back as you look down and realize, just think, I and my Father are one, and the Father has given me dominion over this body and over my business. I don't have to hypnotize anybody into buying my product. I don't have to take thought about how to get employment. I have to know the truth. There is an activity and a function of my consciousness that is out before me now, taking care of my employment, or taking care of the sale of my books, or taking care of the raising up of publishers, or anything else that may be necessary to my functioning. The only way in which you will believe this and agree on it is this. Do you believe that there is a God, infinite, divine, creative principle, which at the same time is infinite intelligence, And therefore, everything and everybody created by that creative principle was created for a specific function. If you don't believe that, you cannot be helped. If you do believe that, you cannot be unemployed, because God cannot have a wasted action, idea, thought, or projection. If there is a divine idea, then it came forth from God, and God will project it into human consciousness and see that it is fulfilled. Therefore, you must never use dominion or domination over anyone. Never permit your thought to extend outside of yourself as if to govern, control, or dominate anybody or influence anybody in the world. Not any more than you now realize that you can influence God. Is there an infinite way student who still believes he can influence God to do something? If so, they better be healed in a hurry and learn how to pray, because you cannot influence God. And you have no right to influence or dominate man. Therefore, your life is lived within the infinite boundaries of your own consciousness. And your way of life is knowing the truth.